Hello guys, and welcome back to Strategic Command World War II World at War with our first ever PvP. SirTravis has sent the turn back over to me, so let's go ahead and load it up. We just got done the other day recording a summit, which would have released before I am recording this. We plan to do those pretty much every year in-game. Why is it not loading up? Okay, there you go. What the fuck? Alright. We plan to do this basically every year, just going over what happens in our PvP and talking about what we feel like talking about. You know, eventually for one big one at the end, I suppose, for whoever wins, before we eventually do the other side of things, playing as our opposite sides. But let's see what he did. Now, on his first turn in 1940, that's what we're going into now, 1940, my last turn was the end of 1939. So he ran back into the subs, taking 4 damage, dealing 1. Ran into another one, didn't see it coming. 5 damage to a destroyer, 4 damage to my sub, oof. But still, damn. That's a lot of damage he took. That was thankfully my healthiest sub. Now he's just like running back and forth, not sure what to do. Alright, the Chinese are pushing up so aggressively. And he is pushing at Canton, really to no avail. He's being so aggressive. I thought I would have chased him off for being aggressive. He's doing this in the winter, so his attack values are not as good as they could be. But he was doing all of that in the winter. I don't know if he knows that attacking in the winter is a terrible idea. Because that's why I didn't attack. We raided Sudan-UK convoy, Polish corps formed in France, yeah, as expected. It was really not very long after I sent that turn back to him that he messaged me and goes, "Those subs are still there." I'm quite happy with how the engagements went. We took some damage to our subs, but we dealt out like way more damage than we took. And we kept the heavy cruisers safe. Everything's still alive. I'm quite happy with that. So let's see here. The hull of our proposed aircraft carrier, the Graf Zeppelin, currently awaiting completion. Completing it as an aircraft carrier will cost us 200 MPPs at 25 MPPs a turn for 8 turns, and it will be ready in January 1942. Would you like to continue the production as an aircraft carrier? Whether it's better to continue working on it as an aircraft carrier or to save the MPPs and use them elsewhere depends on your overall strategy and whether you can afford the cost of deploying it as an aircraft carrier. If you say yes to this, it could serve in either the Baltic or the Atlantic, providing long-range air support and reconnaissance to our vessels. The Germans did have 2 carriers in production in the late 1930s. The other being planned was intended to be called the Peter Strasser, but neither were ever finished. I'm really on the fence about this one because getting to get an aircraft carrier is great. These things are more expensive than battleships, but I don't know by how much. Now this is really where I wish I could, you know, see the prices of things before I agree to anything, but that's not a fucking option. However, I do not believe there is a 200 MPP difference between battleships and carriers. In fact, I think they're very similarly priced. So I'll just take this as a battleship because I believe that will be smarter. Like that will be less MPPs than, you know, just buying these things anyway. While a carrier could be useful, I'd rather just pay for it up front, and later in the war we can easily afford that. General Rodolfo Graziani, Commander-in-Chief of the Italian Army, can be deployed to Abyssinia if we transfer his headquarters and prepare necessary logistical support for Addis Ababa. But it will cost 50 MPPs. Would you like to deploy him Abyssinia? Yes, or have him deploy at Benghazi in Libya? No. Oh my god. Oh my god. Did I really, in the PvE, pass up having an HQ in Libya to put it in Abyssinia? Did I really fucking do that? I did. Wow. No, dude. Ethiopia is not worth it, if you ask me. Just for free. Having this appear in Libya saves me needing to reinforce and transport another HQ sooner. And this solves, like, one of the most major problems that I even have in that region, like, really early on. So yeah, no, we're keeping him in Libya, but what does it say here? One issue to consider is that once we have deployed Graziani in Abyssinia, it may well prove impossible for him to leave there, given Abyssinia's isolation and distance from the other Axis territories. But without him there, the Allies could possibly take this portion of our glorious empire from us with ease. That's okay, because I can save 50 MPPs on a major power that at full mobilization, I don't even know if they produce 100, and I can make the fight in Libya easier and cheaper by the cost of transporting an HQ, thus taking Egypt faster and easier, and having Italy just be more useful as a result, if you ask me. So, no, we will leave him in Libya. Thank you very much. He's not even full strength. I have to reinforce him anyway. So he's not ever going to be full strength because supply here is not that good. But that's all the decisions. And yes, a battleship is 350 MPPs and a carrier is 350, meaning that would have been ridiculous. I'd be scrapping most of a battleship to turn it into a carrier, saving only 150 MPPs or no, like 150 on the carrier, but like wasting the battleship. I'll just get the battleship. If I want carriers, I can build them later. Sure, they may take a year and a half to make, but Germany really wouldn't need them until an Operation Sea Lion, if you ask me. And I'm not planning on doing an Operation Sea Lion anytime soon. Somehow, in Europe, the weather has worked out perfectly that if I wish to do a slightly early invasion here in January, before my tactical bombers are even in place, I have the capability. Because look at the snow, it's just not here in my invasion path. And even if it does show up in my invasion path, it doesn't matter. So long as I can get Brussels and the Netherlands done, and they start out pretty weakened anyway, I think I'm willing to take that risk. Everybody that is necessary for the initial stage here is already ready. So, putting the fear of God into him. So we've declared war on all three Low Countries. This is the situation that currently faces us. And we have to make some choices here. Let's go ahead and take the medium bomber and just immediately bombard the Dutch army. We dealt no damage, we took no damage, but we've softened them up quite reasonably, I would say. Let's take the 8th Army and attack. Dealing 3 damage, taking none. And I do wonder if we could finish them off with a core. I kind of want to leave this core alone for now, because I have kind of an idea for it. Here's part of my idea, right? We're going to take the 4th Army here. We're going to actually march this forward. Because we don't want this thing, like, running away. That's not something I want to deal with. There's no zone of control to worry about currently, but we're still going to need maybe a little more power up front if I want to fully wipe out this core. I'm trying to set up getting the tank this far. Yeah, I think this will work out. I'm pretty sure. Now, I'm not positive. Don't call me Shirley, but I think my plan in my head will work. Simultaneously, I'm going to take my 4th Panzer tank and we're going to immediately attack the enemy 1st Belgian Corps, dealing the 4 expected damage and taking none. I'll use the tank again to finish off the enemy corps here. There's national morale bonus. The goal, realistically here right now, is just to try to take the enemy capital one way or another. So it's going to cost pretty much everything to, like, move the 1st Army forward, but we will do that up against this enemy location. And then, theoretically as well, we should be able to move the 10th Army forward. Yes, move the 10th Army forward as well. And now this is going to be really up to chance if this works out with these 2 armies. From what I'm reading, it shouldn't, but I'm setting it up nonetheless. And let's just say fuck it, hit the button, see what happens. We dealt 4 damage as expected, took 1 damage as expected, and now this one, we dealt 3 damage as expected, took no damage as expected, but 1st Army of Belgium is still alive and in my way. Further up north, I definitely want to knock out the Dutch army, so I'm not going to take any chances. We're going to use the 14th Army to do it. So let's go ahead and attack. Dealing 3 damage. Taking 1, unfortunately, that was not expected, but it's not that bad either. Now there's the 1st enemy corps here in our way. So let's go ahead and attack that with the 4th Army, dealing the 4 expected damage and taking none, and then we could finish that off with the 1st Frontier Corps, moving up and also securing this town behind it, the Groningen, I don't know how to say that, but yeah, we took it. So we'll take the 3rd Panzer tanks, we'll move those up into Amsterdam, we will attack the enemy Winkelmann HQ sitting on The Hague, and we wiped it out. There you go. National morale bonus, unfortunately taking 1 damage, however, that is enough to move, hell, the tank if I want. I was setting up the core to move there, I think I will still just move the core up. And there you go. And now the core has taken the Hague, the Haag. This Dutch fighter shouldn't really be a problem at this point. The biggest problem is just the fact that while we're going to take the Netherlands this turn, I don't think I can take Brussels. Not without trying to, like, use a bunch of fighters for strafing runs and just hoping I get lucky. Let's see what happens if we try that. Get one run, lose two, kill two of their fighters, no damage to the target. My game crashed. So my game crashed, but let's try this again. Attack. I'm not even going to speed it up. I'm not going to touch anything. We take one damage. We deal two. Nothing to the enemy. I pretty much don't expect this to work, but I just figured I would try anyway. These fighters are going to take a beating. They're all British. We're surprisingly not taking a beating at all. Even as carrier fighters over here. Damn. Well, he took a ton of damage and I only took one, but that unit is still alive. Therefore, I believe that with our preemptive invasion, which I was going to put off for another turn anyway, or maybe even two, we're just going to have to accept this as the result, where the Netherlands falls basically turn one. There's really no need to attack this. I think it'll just surrender. Same thing with this. I mean, this is just so easy to destroy, I might as well, you know. Easy national morale bonus. Because that's coming out of the UK right there. They're at 98%, and then we gain some. No need to attack that. And what I'll do instead then is the tank is going to move up into the Ardennes. And then we're going to take this core and then move it into Luxembourg to claim Luxembourg. So Belgium will still be alive. He might move up to try to reinforce it, but that means he'll break entrenchment. So I actually kind of hope that he'll do that. And I could just blast right through them. There's no way Brussels can hold, even if he moves somebody new in there. And then, so after that, we will force march the 6th Corps up here. We will send the 1st Corps right there to kind of re-solidify our fortifications there. The 5th Corps will swap in at Mannheim to allow the 30th Corps to upgrade. I'm actually quite impressed. What did our fighters do there? Was that like 5 damage to enemy fighters and we only took 1? That is a really good return on investment, or whatever the hell you want to call that. That worked out really, really well for us. The 14th Army will move down, I suppose, towards Dusseldorf. Just so you know, keep moving. The 8th will take a step down as well. They can't really do anything else right now anyway. And then that gives me room to upgrade the 3rd Army. I don't know what I'm going to upgrade it with yet, actually, so I'll just hold off on that. The SG-2 tactical bombers can definitely get in range. Don't know if it's really good enough, but, you know, it's one thing. The STG-2 tactical bombers will definitely not be getting in range, but they'll get as close as they can get under the current circumstances without operating because that's so expensive. There's no point to get these paratroopers preparing because it only doubles their movement range, so they couldn't really get anywhere anyway. So we'll just send them for now, like west along the road here into the Netherlands, see if we could set them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, this seems decent. Otherwise, into Belgium would just be one more turn. Either way, we're getting pretty far and we're doing pretty well. We'll give some upgrades to the 30th Corps, anti-air, and infantry weapons. That leaves me with 178. This Corps right here, whatever Roman fucking numeral this is going to move up to Cologne to be in a kind of protective place for our HQs and our bombers that have moved up. Looking up north, we have this very, very, very fun situation. So let's see if we can get out of it. Let's move the U-35 down. Actually, let's send the weakest one, the Coast Guard sub, first, just in case. And I'm glad I did that. Okay, so now you won't be debuffed for, like, running into it or whatever. So then if I come down with the U-35 and attack, we deal 1 damage to this enemy light cruiser that's kind of popped up in our way. And then I can come down here as well with the U-32 and attack. And deal no damage, unfortunately, but also take no damage. And for the love of God, I can almost, all fucking most, get us to safety. You know what I've realized? I don't need to get us fully to safety. That is not necessary. What we do instead is we'll send this back up, so it's just a trap and he doesn't see it anymore. And then if we send this as far as it can get the U-35, then this kind of works. You can't get in here. This is it. So if I move this over here, I guess you can get there, huh? Well, still, this is right there in the way. Therefore, I'm gonna think it's safe enough. I'll move an extra one back. There you go. See, so now we're here. We should be safe enough and close enough to move next turn to like full safety. He shouldn't know exactly where we are anyway. Hell, I could move in one more as well. We've gained so much ground. Just to be absolutely sure that he does not find us. And then this one could go right down here to also be something to run into. So he has a nasty surprise either way. There is a slight chance that we actually lose a sub in this operation. However, I would be way happier with losing a sub than the heavy cruiser, because every time he runs into a heavy cruiser, he's taking massive damage that he'll have to repair or not be able to repair. Like in the case of this French destroyer. His British ship that came up just before is actually not like, he's gonna have to repair that, you know? He's not gonna be able to repair the French one because he won't have the MPs to do it. So that is like a win-win right there. Even if I do lose a sub, they've dealt out so much damage. I would never have expected them to deal out so much damage because he keeps running into them. He's so aggressive. He's willing to take any amount of damage just to try to kill a single unit. And so if this one dies, I really won't mind. But better yet, you know, it'll just get away and he won't kill it, right? That's like the best case scenario. Worst case scenario, one dies, but it has more than paid for itself at this point. I think next turn we should definitely be able to get our heavy cruiser to safety. I don't know, man. It's so weird seeing him put like the full naval forces he can really pay for to work trying to kill a couple subs this much and trying to kill one heavy cruiser. He's losing more naval forces than I ever really lost in like the mid to late game added up in total playing as the allies. And in terms of losses for like my units for Axis, this is really nothing special. It's just early. But the amount I'm killing is quite impressive. I want to imagine he's such an aggressive player, he probably feels like this is a good idea. But we'll see how that works out for him in the long run when he doesn't have enough MPPs to adapt to the ever-changing fronts. Over the next 2 turns, I'll be getting some MPP rewards from Netherlands and Belgium, and then eventually from France as well, so I'm still not too really keen, I guess. I don't feel like I need to actually go out of my way as Germany here in terms of getting research done, because I have 178. That's enough to pay for infantry weapons or advanced tanks, whichever one I want. But I could also use that to upgrade this army, and this army getting upgraded, especially if I throw mobility on top of it, would really help me probably with outmaneuvering and killing France faster. Really, it's either a now or next turn thing, and if I do it now, then I can use the army next turn. So I think I'm gonna go for that upgrade because fuck it. Units are more important, and all the armies I know, I want them all to have mobility in the long run. So that leaves me with 90 MPPs. So you know what I'm actually gonna need a couple of that I don't have any of? I'm gonna need them coming up is some garrisons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them, in fact. I have 1. So this is a good chance to go ahead and recruit my first ever normal garrison. And so I guess just a security garrison. It's going to be for security. So we're just going to purchase a security garrison. No upgrades needed. 43 MPPs remaining. I don't think that's enough to actually afford any other units. Nope, that's everything. We have new units to deploy. Another paratrooper unit here. We could put that basically right on the front. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Even from there, if it prepares, it would be pretty well off. We do have a Japanese garrison to deploy, the Jinzo garrison, and so that's going to go to Nagasaki, where we can get ready to go to the mainland. I'm going to move this fighter down to Dortmund. I'm going to move the bomber a little bit more forward so that it can operate easier next turn. Then I believe we've done everything that we are going to do and that we can do as Germany. So now that pretty much just leaves Japan, who has snow everywhere, so I'm not too keen on going on any offensives. Though there are a couple places that stand out, so like the 21st Army could potentially hurt this corps quite well, dealing 2 damage, taking none. That was entirely worth it. We will reinforce the army behind it. This corps actually cannot reinforce here, so we're gonna have to wait until we can like move these up somehow. Or just have it sit here the whole fucking time, I guess. Because he's just pushing up constantly. which is fucking crazy, by the way. And then even over here with the snow, we still have the ability to do some big damage, namely right here to the 5th Corps. Because right here, this would take some bombing effort, and I don't really necessarily want to put the effort into bombing right now. It is pretty hard to say no to dealing 4 damage, so let's go ahead and attack. We dealt 3, we took none. Okay, well that's still better than dealing none. I'll even min-max the offensive capability a little bit here, probably. Oh my god, I can move down there. Oh my god, that's so funny. That's so funny because that would connect this with supply too, and this allow me to react to this better. Holy shit, I want to do that. Okay, yeah, let's do that. He wants to form a line. Let's form a line of my own, bro. 13th Army, move right here. 11th Regional, move over here. Central Expedition, move right there. 34th, move there, because we don't need one over here. There's enough zones of control anyway to keep that in check as is. Wow. Look at this. There's a fucking point here that we just perfectly don't own. What if I move the garrison then? We don't need both these. Well, actually, no, we do. Never mind. I was saying we don't need both of these here. Wait a minute. Yes, we do. Let's just move there. All right, we claim it, and it's perfectly like under control. No, Fu Chao's secondary supply. That's probably more important to have a garrison on. Maybe in the long run. This is the front for now, so we'll just leave things as they are. After that, we could deal a little bit up here, so let's go ahead and just, there you go. Dealt 1 damage, and there you go. Oh shit. Dealt 2 damage, took none, gained XP. So we're just whittling away at him in several different locations, dealing damage in the winter without actually trying to push because I don't want to push through the winter debuffs, while we still save 284 MPPs for my use. You can bet your ass we're going to use it. For one, we need to put another chit into the DEI, because this turn we did move, was it this turn? Was it last turn? It was last turn? It was last turn. Technically into this one. We moved the DEI, where the hell are they? Dutch East Indies, by like 5%. So we need to pay another 50 MPPs to reassign that chit. But it's reassigned, 15% chance maintained. I find it so funny, he hasn't even noticed that we've done this. I think it's because they display when you start your turn up, and I think he probably just clicks through that and doesn't really pay attention. It doesn't make as big a deal about events like that in multiplayer, I've noticed, and that, I think, is affecting how he goes about certain things. And now this allows me to get some other very important things done, such as command and control research. We definitely need that going. That is so important for Japan. Remember, this is a Japan-heavy strategy that I'm doing. So, yeah, you know what's so funny about that too? Is he's focusing everything he has on Germany. He's going so hard on Germany. Germany's not even how I'm trying to win. Germany's how I tried to win the PvE, but this is not the PvE, this is PvP. And so, this is a little, maybe, unwise of an approach for him. Or maybe it is wise because I'm not putting as much effort into them. Who knows? I guess we'll see. We already have 2 more garrisons in production, but we still need way more than that in the short term, not even the long term. So I'm going to make another Japanese garrison. There you go. So now we have like 3 coming. And I think they might all arrive next turn. This one might be 2 turns. Probably 2 turns for that one. But that's fine. Because we need 3 more here. And then we could use some here, especially right here, so we can kind of free up the placement of this HQ. And then even more as we move forward. So we'll deal with that as we deal with that. 34 MPPs remaining, meaning Japan is basically done. We'll move forward the U-30, probably north. Try to get it up and around as well at this rate. Because, shit, dude, 6 turns? Is that enough to last until we get Denmark? You know, it probably is, realistically. It probably is. Yeah, we'll have enough time. I looked up the event, and Denmark doesn't happen until, like, March. So we'll have enough time. I'm still not sure about taking over Norway, though, to be honest. But we'll just send it, like, just northwest here. He won't really be expecting us to be over here. He's entirely focused in the North Sea. For Italy, the 5th garrison can just go down here. This army needs to keep marching its way east. This Graziani HQ, I imagine I'll just have it sit on Benghazi. 1, 2, like, there'll be some fall off, though, one way, whether it's up close or not. Just gonna sit here so it can reinforce well, at least. And then we have 80 MPPs to spend, and some units still need some getting up to strength. I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to do some sort of French offensive into Italy or something, so I'm just going to reinforce this HQ up to 8. It's the most I could do right now. 26 MPPs remaining. We get 2 points into the area tanks, get them up to 5. So we're just way more prepared over here in general. That's all the MPPs is Italy. As Italy, let's move the first garrison up somewhere. Let's say to Venice. Why not for now? We'll move these planes that have gotten everything they need up towards Milan, just in case he's aggressive here like he's been aggressive everywhere else. And then I believe that is the end of what we're doing as everybody. So let's go ahead and hit end turn. Luxembourg surrenders, we plunder 14 MPPs. The Netherlands surrenders, we plunder 105 MPPs. Now that's how I plan on getting research in, with a bunch of extra MPPs. Belgian Congo prepares for war. Belgian Congo joins the Allies. I expect nothing less. He's disrupting these convoys. We have a deal in the works to kind of get rid of that. And I'll explain it more in a later episode, the diplomacy that I'm doing, but see how it provides, Norway provides MPPs in the winter, Sweden doesn't? I'm going to talk about that later when talking about an upcoming deal we have regarding Norway. But that is the whole turn. This is being sent back over to him. So I hope you guys have enjoyed, because we're also out of time for this episode. And we'll see you for the next turn on the next episode.